The first thing is to try to take some time to think about where you are and be honest with yourselves. What are the things that you feel are challenging and that don't quite work for either you as a service or you as a wider partnership? And maybe write a list of all the key partners you want to influence. Who are the key people who affect your work? Politicians, key stakeholders, key internal colleagues, that although you see in the corridor sometimes, you maybe don't have a really full conversation on how things could be different. Try and go and have the conversations that sometimes you don't get the chance to in separate meetings. Ask about how you can do things differently and find where your mutual ground is. What are the things that you can help each other on? And I think one of the things that we were able to do from that process was develop an outcomes framework. We completed that as a service to get out, sort of know our own minds a little bit and understand where our strengths are. But we also did that with wider partners. And that was incredibly useful because essentially we began to realise what was important to tackle the problems in our county.
Manage your own expectations. Be prepared to do some really hard thinking for yourself. We also had to understand the kind of thinking, the terminology, the approach and the pressures almost that others were under, that we needed to then have that understanding in order to move our own thinking on our own partnering.
Manage expectations, because this has been a journey and it's taken perhaps longer than many people would have liked it to have been. But I think that's part of culture change, and that's part of getting people on board and spending time listening and seeking to understand, and also something that I certainly believe in is trying to see things from other people's perspectives. So what is it that culture and sport want to achieve? What is it that clinical commissioning groups want to achieve? And then what is it that public health want to achieve? And trying to find that synergy.
It's a case of just be open to what options there might be out there. There are opportunities to improve, try different ways of doing things. And it's just a case of being open to that, I think.
If you can do one strategic thing that you invest the time and effort and energy that you've got now into this, because although it feels like you're taking a pause maybe from what you might normally be doing, the immediate agenda that you have to deliver, actually our experience is that over time it's moved the whole organisation on. It's made conversations possible where we wouldn't have got airtime previously, and from a senior management team in the council, it's definitely now on the agenda, and questions are being asked of us, and we're being invited to attend things that we wouldn't have been the second thought previously. So I think that's been a major difference.
So in terms of commissioning, and I think, and I don't think the finance was the driver here. I think it was about, looking at how the county's made up, looking at the priorities, and having a plan of moving forward. But by getting people active in terms of the commission, we're stopping people going into hospital, aren't we? People are getting fitter, they're feeling better in themselves around the mental health, and the well-being, and that's what's important. I think that should drive the agenda, because you want to make a difference.
There's so many resources on the Sport England website, and try and find the time to dive in there and use some of them and play with them a little bit, make the time, and the other thing to do is force yourself to make those contacts with the CCG and with public health, and work with them from that basis. Co-production, it's what it's all about, and that's what you've got to do, not just expect that somebody's going to fund an intervention for you, because that's unlikely.
Yeah, so if you're stepping out and thinking you want to embark on the same journey, then it's really good to take a look at the online engaging and commissioning toolkits. And what they do is take you through a step-by-step process, which is exactly the process we've followed. We've sometimes lost a bit of momentum and had to pick it up, but they're a really good set of advice notes to really help you get started.
The one piece of advice I would give to anybody embarking on this journey is to do the mapping, understand who your key partners are, who do you need to talk to, who aren't you currently talk to, map it out, write it down, make sure you have that meeting with them, and don't just do it once, keep maintaining it, keep on top of it. Roles People change regularly, so we need to stay on top of it. But if you're not out there having those conversations, you can't expect to be influencing policy. So get out there and do it.